So now we are moving to the another topic. This is also a very excellent therapy, melanocyte transfer, and it's a very simple therapy and gives beautiful results. And patients are so much happy, and they will give you gratitude for the lifelong, because vitiligo is such a social taboo, especially not only over India but all over the world. So I think this therapy gives me immense pleasure, and I have been doing this therapy for more than 15 years. So let's start with this procedure. See, just to give you a small background, vitiligo is a common acquired pigmentary disorder of great cosmetic importance, and histologically it is characterized. Basically, there is absence of melanocytes along the epidermal basal layer. It's a big taboo not only in India but all over the world. The incidence of the vitiligo over the worldwide is 1 to 2%, and here in our part of the Gujarat it's quite high, 8 to 8.5%, especially in South Gujarat area. The etiology, I will not go into the details, just to touch this. Etiology, as you know, that there is no definitive etiology. If you say it is because of autoimmune, neurohormonal factor, cytotoxicity, so you must be knowing that each and every pathy tries to treat this problem of vitiligo, and the patients are willing to go for any therapy, but they want the cure. Uh, the medical treatments include drug, PUVA, and so on. I'll go directly to the melanocyte transfer. And among the surgical therapies, there are few established techniques like mini puncture technique, blister roof grafting, super grafting, and epidermal cell transfer. Now I'm going to talk about epidermal cell transfer or melanocyte transfer technique. So what are the indications? Friends, please note that indications are extremely important. If you don't choose your patient properly, then there is a failure of this therapy. So you will not get the results, and it is very much disheartening for the patient as well as yourself, because patient is already under depression and he has shown so many doctors before coming to you. So before planning for the surgery, you have to be 100% confirmed that the lesion which you are going to operate should be stable form of vitiligo, and patient should not be on the use of any immunosuppressive or cytotoxic drugs for minimum of past 6 months. The exclusion criteria. So to what are the exclusion criteria? If a patient is having active lesions, there are small lesions appearing either in the closer to the existing lesion or somewhere else in the body, freshly erupted lesions, or if the existing lesion is increasing in width or in any of the dimension, or sometimes it does happen that there are small lesions, if they are coming together, then all these are active lesions and you should not go for this procedure. Another, if a patient is having vitiligo covering more than 70% of body surface area, then better to ask him to go for depigmentation of whole body to get a uniform color, rather than trying a melanocyte transfer in a particular area. We are not going to get successful. Or if a patient is associated with autoimmune disease like thyroiditis, diabetes mellitus, or pernicious anemia, this means the autoimmune process is continuous in his body, and treating only one part is not going to cure the problem until unless these autoimmune diseases are addressed. So coming to the exact indication for this therapy is that stable form of vitiligo. Friends, it is stable form of vitiligo means there should be no increase in size of lesion for at least 1 year, or there should be no new spot appearing for last 6 months. I will repeat, no increase in size of the lesion for at least 1 year, or there should be no new spot appearing for last 6 months. You can do for any hypopigmented lesion anywhere in the body because of any lesion, because basically the principle is that we are providing the melanocytes over the deficient site. That is it. So you can do it in the post-traumatic hypopigmentation, post-burn hypopigmented lesion. Many times we get post-burn hypopigmented lesion, and even in congenital hypomelanocytic lesions. Now coming to the preoperative assessment, Pre-operative assessment, again I would say that you have to counsel the patient properly that we are going to do this therapy. I expect a good result, but you have to be patient because the pigment will appear in 3 weeks to 3 months of the time, and many a times it does happen that if there are small residual patches remaining, then you may need second session of the therapy. And so you need to discuss about the nature of the disease with the patient, expected outcome, and what all are the possible complications and need of concomitant medical therapy. Many a times it does happen that if a patient is having stable vitiligo, and but after the therapy you see that it has just started progressing, unfortunately, then you need to take a help of the medical therapy, and patient may need more than one sessions, and informed consent of course and with photographs is extremely important. Now the steps of procedure, it's a very simple, only 3 steps. First step is harvesting of the thin skin graft as per your requirement. The basic principle is that 1/10 of the size of the lesion you have to harvest the skin graft. That much melanocyte is enough to cover that area. But what I do is that I customize my skin graft size, because if so many times it does happen that we get patients, especially young girls who are getting married early and they want early repigmentation. So the more melanocytes we put, we can get a better early repigmentation. We can even cover them in 3 weeks. So you can take a larger size of the skin graft, but the basic principle is that 1/10 of the size of the lesion. Then comes the second step is cellular separation, and third is the final step of microdermabrasion and then transplantation. There are of course few basic specific requirements to do this procedure. Few medias are required, and lamellar flow bench if you have, it's well and good because it helps in making the procedure as sterile, and CO2 incubator, centrifuge, petri dish, pipette, collagen, and so on. Harvesting of skin grafts, since all of us are plastic surgeon, I need not tell you how to harvest. Only few important points I would like to stress, that try to take ultra thin skin graft so that there is less scarring at the donor side, there is faster healing, and it decreases our dissection time. Dissection time means we are going to separate epidermal cells from the dermis or collagen, so it decreases the dissection time, and less the dissection time, less the melanocyte will be damaged and better will be the results. And preferably we should take always graft from the hidden areas of the body, and as I have mentioned earlier, 1/10 the size of the recipient area. Now coming to the cellular separation, once we have harvested the skin graft, we have to wash it with a normal saline so as to remove the RBCs or any blood which is attached to it, and then you have to incubate it with a 0.25% trypsin EDTA solution. You can incubate it either in a petri dish or even in a test tube for 45 minutes to 60 minutes. What happens is that if the skin graft is very thin, then even 30 to 45 minutes is enough. But if the skin graft is thick, then it may require at times 1 hour of incubation. You have to keep a watch on the cellular separation. And always if you are putting it in the petri dish, then see to it that the dermal surface should be kept above. This is how the epidermolysis happens. Once we put it in the media trypsin EDTA, the blue zone which you are seeing, that is the separation zone which has started appearing between the epidermis and dermis, and gradually what happens is that you can see that the pink multiple layers on the top that has separated from the deeper layers. Then coming to the transplantations, when we have prepared these cells after cellular separation, we do the transplantation. For transplantation, you have to microdermabrate the area. Either you can do it with a fractional CO2 laser, or even you can do it with a micromotor drill, the common micromotor drill which you use for in facial-maxillary surgeries. The same drill, you have to just buy a burr and do a micro dermabrasion. Only the epidermis is removed, and then the cells are sprinkled over the site and a collagen dressing is given. After giving the collagen dressing, you need to and immobilize that part for at least 2 hours so that the melanocytes will get a settled over that area. I will show, coming to few of the clinical cases, I'll go into it. This was one of the case of post-auricular hypopigmented lesion. Melanocyte transfer was done. In this picture, I want to show you the melanocyte, how it gets at the bottom of the tube. I hope you are able to see a lower part, cortical part. There is a cellular portion. These are the melanocytes. This is the dermis. After doing the cellular separation, you will get the cells separated, and this is the white glistering dermis which you have to discard. Or nowadays I have started putting this dermis also, since the latest literature says that it helps in the improvement of the result. Post-operative care, the dressing is opened on the 5th day. Initially, what you will see is that you will see a pink discoloration. If you are a beginner and you are very much eager to see the pigments, then the trick is that you can see it under the infrared light or UVB light. There are handheld UVB lights available. So under UVB light, you will see bluish discoloration of the pigment, and you can show to the patient also in the first dressing itself or second dressing. You see, these are the pigment cells which we have put, and this gives a great psychological impact on the patient, and he's in a positive mode, and the repair there is a faster recovery. This is what I have observed. And in 3 to 6 months, usually the normal color appears, and excellent cosmetic results are seen in 5 to 6 months, complete cover. To show you various stages of the pigmentation, in the first picture you can see this is after, I think it is after 7 days, then second is after 15 days, and the lower down is after 3 weeks, the big patch. Now coming to this procedure, it is a simple to perform. Minimum equipment is required. Usually it's a daycare procedure. It can be done under local anesthesia or general anesthesia depending on the site of the lesion, size of the lesion, and compliance of the patient. Biopsy and transfer is done on the same day, and lesions up to 100 to 150 square centimeter can be covered in the same sitting. The advantages of this therapy are that cosmetically excellent results, and most of the cases we get nearly 100% results. It can be done in any area of the body, even on the lips, areola, any part of the body you can do this procedure. There is no scarring. The beauty of this therapy is that there is no scarring. It looks just like a normal skin. The contraindications for this therapy are that if a patient is having active disease, pregnant patients, infection at the recipient site, evidence of Koebner's in the past, and keloidal tendencies. Keloidal tendencies is actually a relative contraindication. It's not an absolute contraindication. Now the limitations of this procedure is that since we are putting the melanocyte and that's it, so many times it does happen that there is hyperpigmentation or hypopigmentation. But what I have seen that over a period of time, within 1 to 2 years, it settles down. So there are uneven pigmentation at times. Sometimes patients may require multiple sittings. And yes, this hair bearing area, especially in the mustache area and the upper lip in males, these are the difficult lesions to treat, because what happens is that once we put melanocyte transfer in this area, although the pigment has settled in the skin, but the hair is gray, and so they cannot appreciate that the results are there. And for the melanocytes to transfer into the hair root, it takes minimum 1.5 to 2 years. So this has to be explained to the patients prior, if you are doing a melanocyte transfer in a male patient in a beard area or hair bearing area. Let's have a look at few of the clinical cases. This was my first case of melanocyte transfer. Stable vitiligo over the face, and this was after 3 months. Unfortunately, I lost follow-up. Patient moved on to Rajasthan, but I hope the remaining residual area must also have healed. These are few of the cases showing the vitiligo of the lower limb. This upper eyelid, excellent results, very good results, and very satisfying to the patient as well as the doctor. Few more cases of the upper eyelid and the lower eyelid, forehead, beard area. This is what I was telling about, that beard area. Although pigment is there, but because of gray hair, patient cannot appreciate. So it takes a prolonged time for the to cover. This is post-burn scar. Again, an interesting case. This young boy had a post-burn scar over the face, for which he went to some doctor for the improvement of the scar, and peel was done. And unfortunately, it was a deep peel. And following deep peel, it resulted in the destruction of melanocytes, all melanocytes, for which then we did the melanocyte transfer. And one another important interesting point what I have observed is that you get better results in normal vitiligo skin as compared to post-burn scar, because the skin is already diseased. So to get the results of melanocyte transfer in post-burn scar, usually it takes a prolonged time. This was another case of post-burn scar in which melanocyte transfer was done. This was another case of vitiligo, stable, nipple and areola complex, for which we did the melanocyte transfer. Here, see, as I told you, I have put lot of melanocytes, so that because we want a more concentration of melanin in this particular area. So you have to customize your treatment. This was another interesting case of vitiligo over the lips, for which melanocyte transfer was done, and I think all of you can appreciate the good cosmetic result. So friends, to conclude, this therapy is simple, safe, effective surgical therapy for patients with stable vitiligo. Thank you for patient listening. Any questions?
Thank you, madam. I'll just check the chat box.
Yeah.
No, there are no questions in the chat box, but I would like to ask you a few questions, madam. What's like, for example, how you said that you are actually putting the collagen sheet on top of the melanocytes that you have actually placed, and how do you? I mean, do you fix it, or do you have some technique?
See, what we do is that the similar way. What you have to do is that you put the melanocytes over the area after dermabrasion, and by putting a dry collagen advantage is that you don't, in wet collagen you need to wash it with normal saline, and it is very clumsy, and stretch it, two person need to hold it, and then you have to put it. Dry collagen is a paper sheet, you just put it over the area and it gets sealed. Okay, and on top of it you give your routine dressing and immobilize it. That's it.
Oh, that means like tie-over dressings or something like that you give?
For suppose if you are if on the limbs, then you can go for circumferential dressing. If it is in the upper lips, then of course you need to do the tie-over dressing. If it is in the lid mobile part, then upper lid, then you need to do tie-over dressing. So depending on the area, you need to decide the mode of dressing.
And it is for 6 days that you do this tie-over dressing?
No, only for 5 days.
Five days.
In fact, you can remove even after 3 days also. Basically, it needs immobilization just for 48 hours.
Okay. And where is this trypsin available? Is it available freely, or?
Yeah, doctor, there is one Dr. Hayat Nagarkar. And nowadays there are few companies also, they are providing this melanocyte kit.
Okay.
Yeah. They provide you the whole kit. They will give you the test tubes, the trypsin, and everything. Only thing is that you have to buy that dry collagen and other instruments you need to arrange.
Okay. It would have been nice, like if you could have, because you were supposed to actually come to Kerala also for this and demonstrate it, live demonstrate it. Unfortunately, COVID didn't allow us to do.
Yeah, unfortunately, it could not happen. Yeah.
So I think there is one question is come up. Yeah. Dr. Nishant is asking when to advise bath.
Bath you can advise after 5 days. First, usually what I do is that ask the patient to come for the first dressing on 3rd or 4th day. And since we are doing a superficial microdermabrasion, Okay, so if we see that the wound is dry, then we do the another dressing and ask the patient to come for next dressing after 3 days.
Okay.
And at that time he can have bath and come.
Okay, so basically 6th day he can take a shower.
Yeah, 6th day he can take the shower.
And then there is no requirement for any dressing after that.
You can keep it open. Just apply Neosporin antiseptic ointment.
Okay.
Or basically
And
it has to be kept lubricated.
Okay, and you should not go get out into the sun. It should be.
He can get. In fact, after doing melanocyte transfer, we do advise them to take early sun rays, early morning sun rays. It is a type of stimulator for the melanocytes. So it will help in multiplication of the melanocytes.
Okay. Dr. Madhavi's got a question. At what temperature is the incubation done? And is there a specific chamber for the incubation, madam?
Pardon?
At what temperature is the incubation done? And is there any specific chamber? Yeah.
Incubation is done at 37 degrees only.
Okay.
Yeah. And it is
I think this.
And it is done for 30 minutes to 1 year. What you have to do is that you keep and watch every 10 minutes over your petri dish or tube. Okay, so you will observe that cells have started separating from the skin and they are dissolving into the fluid. Fluid is becoming dusk, husky. Color of the fluid is changing. You can see the cells with naked eye also. Or what we do usually, that after, if I usually use a test tube for this purpose, so what I usually do is that after every 10 minutes we just lift up the test tube and vigorously we shake it. So this vigorous shaking also mechanically it dissociates the cells and it hampers, it increases the cellular dissociation process.
Okay, madam.
Yeah.
There is another request. Can you please show a video of melanocyte transfer?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Okay.
Yeah, just a minute, huh?
Yeah.
अंकिता ये खोल दिया ना melanocyte का वीडियो हाँ तो बंद करो वीडियो Are you able to see this? Is it visible?
No, video is not visible. We are still seeing your last slide.
Just a minute, huh? I'll do it again.
Put your socks on the bed.
Is it visible now?
Yes.
Yeah, see, this is a very simple procedure. What I am doing is that I have injected a local anesthesia. Then we are harvesting a thin skin graft, washing it with a normal saline. And this is the trypsin EDTA solution ready in the tube. Put the graft in the tube, shake it, and then this was incubated. After incubation, you have to remove it, and then manually with the 2 plain forceps, you have to start separating the epidermal cell. This is the white portion. This is the dermis, which I showed you in one of the slides, and this is the concentrate, cellular concentrate. And this is the microdermabrasion at the donor area, and we have centrifuged that portion of the melanocyte fluid, and at the bottom of the tube you can see the melanocytes, and this is the melanocyte suspension which we have prepared and put, and just seal it with a collagen and do our standard dressing. That's it. It's a very simple procedure, especially for us as a plastic surgeon.
That is a nice demo of the procedure. Very crisp. I think there are no more questions.
Okay.
So is Dr. Radhakrishnan or Dr. Lakshmi there? I think they have not been able to join. So on behalf of Team Plastic Press, we want to thank you very much, madam, for actually sharing with us this particular 2 techniques. The